Hey everyone, thank you for watching my channel Woman Walking Away. Today we're talking about the malleability of the female body. So when we say the female body is malleable, I don't mean literally and I don't mean naturally. I mean that we have an impression as a culture that women's bodies are very changeable, very dynamic, fluid. Um, there's a sense of impermanence to the female body that doesn't exist with men. Men are very much allowed to um, exist as they are without making small or huge changes to their physical selves. Women from very young are encouraged to change everything about themselves. Everything about themselves is flawed and needs adjustment. As a culture, when we don't see women as a class, when we don't think that we have things in common with each other as a class, because we are so visually different, we end up losing that class analysis. The problem with women not understanding that we are oppressed as a sex class is that we are no longer attempting to revolt as a sex class. And we are a huge portion of the population whose revolution could change the world, but because we don't see our commonalities, we don't believe that we could ever join together. And I think that this is strategic on behalf of patriarchy, but I also think that it's just really convenient to have a section of humanity who is so preoccupied with changing themselves that there's no time to change the world. So when I say malleability, let's talk about some of the things that I mean here. I just read an article where girls as young as 9 were looking to have labia surgery on their vulva to change the appearance of it. Now, where are 9-year-old girls looking at vulvas and seeing that theirs is not right, that there's something wrong with it, that it needs to be changed? Your body is perfect at any age. You have nothing to change. Every single human being is perfectly adapted the way they're meant to be on our planet. So this is a result of porn culture. These ideas come from pornography, and pornography is not harmless, and it's not just a masturbation aid, and it's not just good fun. It's really not. It's doing so much damage to the women who are in it, to the mindset of the men who watch it, to the women who are impacted in society because of it, like these 9-year-old girls who don't think their bodies are good enough. This is so wrong. We are doing such a disservice. We are doing so much damage to young people with pornography, and it's rampant. It's everywhere. It's free. You can't escape it. It was bad when I was younger. It is nothing like what it is right now. And a girl as young as 8 or 9 years old is also impacted by this diet culture that we have. Women can't talk about our eating issues without talking about why we need to change them. As someone who has an eating disorder, hearing that every single one of my friends hates the way that their body looks because of their weight is so devastating to me, and it's so dangerous. And restrictive diets can lead to eating disorders and certainly encourage disordered eating behavior, which is very common among women. We've totally lost the sense of being connected with our bodies. Instead of trying to foster a healthier relationship with food, we treat it like an enemy, and it is the battle of your life. With young girls, they're growing up seeing their mothers dieting and restricting or purging or exercising to the point of exhaustion. But this culture of thinness, this idea that you only deserve to move through the world if you're under a certain weight, is so harmful, again, to young women, to old women, to middle-aged women, to all women everywhere. And just like with so many things, we are guilted about this issue because here in North America we have an obesity epidemic, so-called, but then in other countries women are starving to death. So it's again this like freedom in different ways, or in suffering in different ways. It's the two sides of the same coin, just like with obligatory revealing of your bodies that we have in North America. So, you can't find girls' clothing that covers their bodies appropriately. I can't find women's clothing that's, thick, fits well, is comfortable, has pockets. Like, we have obligatory exposure, and other countries have mandatory modesty. These are not separate problems. They are two sides of the same coin. It's patriarchy. It is men telling us what we can do, what we can wear, how we can look. And the diet culture works the exact same way. We have such a disconnect from what is actually happening in other countries that we feel like we'll never have solidarity. Our problems are so different, but I am positing to you that the problems are not different. They are on the same spectrum of the oppression of women, and we need to address it everywhere. There are many ways that women are obligated to change our bodies, from plastic surgery to female genital mutilation, breast ironing, and foot binding, and the high heels that we wear, that some women wear, hair removal. This is a tactic that keeps us looking prepubescent, and again, this is fostered by porn culture. So why is it so important that adult women are so reminiscent of children? I would ask yourself that very seriously. So again, these are issues where we're obligated to change our bodies because we've been taught or we're being told that something is intrinsically wrong, dirty, or broken about our bodies. Our bodies are not wrong, dirty, or broken. We exist beautifully in the world as we're meant to, as nature intended through billions of years of evolution. We don't need to have our clitorises cut off. Our clitorises exist to make us feel good in the world, and women deserve to feel good in the world. We don't need to have our breasts removed so we can appear as another sex. That we need to end patriarchy that treats women so shitty that they feel like they need to change sex because they can't identify with what womanhood looks like. Because womanhood, according to patriarchy, is a fucking scam. So you have young women going through altering surgeries on their vulvas or wanting to. You have women dieting themselves to distraction, taking hours and hundreds of dollars to apply makeup it's poor for your skin, it's bad for the environment. It's a mask that you wear to feel okay in the world, but you are okay in the world. You are perfectly wonderful just as you are. These restrictions they're not arbitrary, they're not coincidental, they're strategic to keep you broke, distracted, busy, and full of self-loathing. So then older women also experience this malleability, right? Like, you're not allowed to age as an older woman. And once you hit a certain age and you're no longer considered desirable by the mainstream men, although you can always remain a fetish, thank you porn, then all of a sudden it's all bets are off, right? Like, if you're in your 30s and you get diagnosed with breast cancer, they will give you every resource, every attempt to have reconstructive surgery. They will walk you through it slowly. Make sure that your perfect, precious, sexualized body is still desirable. But if you're 60 plus and you get diagnosed with breast cancer, cut them off. Honestly, it is so different the way older women and younger women are treated by the medical establishment in terms of that permanence. So in that sense, younger women are able to maintain a bit of their permanence because they're still seen as sexual objects, but older women are seen as no longer useful to men, so we might as well just go the cheapest route, the easiest route for the surgeon, and remove her breasts entirely. And this is shameful because women deserve to have whole bodies if they are able to maintain that, and they need to be walked through this with compassion and the idea that a mastectomy is an amputation. A breast is a body part. It infuriates me that we treat older women like they can just lose body parts and they'll be fine with it because, men weren't using them anymore anyway. So I think I've gone through, quite a few examples of how women are expected or demanded to change aspects of their bodies. all to please someone who is not you. So none of this benefits you. And you can say that, you know, your makeup is creative, or you like the way it looks when you're hairless, or you're just trying to, you know, be the best version of yourself. And I hear all that all the time. That's not a feminist perspective on this, and there's no way to make it feminist. So I wish that liberal feminists would stop trying to reclaim these things, because they're being enforced on us. And if you can't say no to them, if you are punished for saying no, if when you don't wear makeup you could be fired, if when you don't wear high heels or skirts, you are exposed to lesbophobic violence, verbal or otherwise, in the workplace or in your home, then if you can't say no, you can't say yes, right? So if you can't say no, then you're not giving your complete informed consent, because there's no other options. The other option is pain. Let's talk about anti-aging. This is so ridiculous. This is such a scam. This idea that you can slow or stop your aging. The natural progression in your life. Aging is inevitable. Aging is wonderful. Aging is complicated. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. It's loaded, right? It's not all good, but it is also perfectly human and normal and healthy to age. It is not reversible. It's not something you can or should want to slow down. What we need to change is not ourselves. It's the culture. It's the culture that invisibilizes older women. It's the culture that sexualizes younger women. It's the culture that keeps women who are in the middle of those two completely jumping through hoops for our entire lives to meet some standard that we did not set for ourselves, that makes money for white male billionaire CEOs. We need to step outside of this altogether and find a new way of existing in the world as whole human beings and regaining a solid connection with our bodies, because we are a class. Women are a class of human beings. We are the class with immobile gametes. We are the class with female procreative organs, which include but are not limited to ovaries, uterus, vagina. We are the class with the clitoris. We are the class with the female secondary sex characteristics, which are really important too. So not one of those things makes you a woman, but the collection of them makes you a woman. And it is right down to our double X chromosomes. And it matters. So when we can peel away the layers of why we visually look so different from culture to culture, or from class to class, like from upper class to poverty, why do we visually look so different? I believe it's an attempt to destabilize solidarity. I think it's patriarchy basically keeping women from each other based on minor differences that are superficial. And I also believe that it's capitalism trying to sell whatever they can to whoever they can across the board. So to step back from this, we all share so much in common. We all share not just physical attributes of womanhood, so like as I described, our procreative system and our secondary sex characteristics and our chromosomes, but we also share the collective experience of being oppressed based on our sex. So men do not share that. They do not share a collective experience of oppression. They actually share a collective experience of being oppressive. That doesn't mean that black men are not oppressed for being black, and it doesn't mean that white women are not oppressors based on their whiteness. They are, but these things that we have in common are important as well. So black women or black lesbians have every right to their own spaces, to work together, to confront their oppressors if that's what their goal is, or to separate if that's what their goal is. And I fully wholeheartedly support that. I also believe that women as a class, all of us, we're in this together. We we're experiencing something globally right now that is a turning point. It's a shift. And if we do not change our world dramatically to the way that I believe we were always meant to thrive, which is with women in full decision making power of their bodies, and of the earth as a creative force, we will lose it all. So we don't have to share everything in common with other women. We don't have to, like, women with hysterectomies are still women. Women who have had mastectomies are still women. Women who have had clitorectomies are still women. We don't have to have every component of femaleness in common to understand that we are still oppressed based on our bodies. So who benefits from women's lack of somatic connection? Our integral inhabitants of our bodies has been disrupted. We no longer have a natural, respectful, loving relationship with our human forms. A lot of us feel very dissociated, our brains from our bodies, this disconnect. And a lot of us hurt ourselves because of it and because of other reasons. We change ourselves, we hurt ourselves, we hate ourselves, and I desire so deeply to see this undone. So who is harmed? I think I described pretty accurately over the course of this video how many ways, how utterly creative patriarchy is to get women to harm themselves, or to harm women directly, or to create harm through cultural norms. And who benefits? Again, patriarchy thrives when women do not experience solidarity, when we are all out here as individuals feeling alone, feeling like no one else knows what we're going through, feeling like we're the only ones, because so many of these topics that I've talked about are just encultured in shame. And we don't need to be ashamed of these things. We need to talk about them. We need to shine the light on shame and to watch all the little shame bugs scurry away. Another interesting and annoying part of all of this is the idea that women are liars, or we're fakers because of the makeup that some women wear, or because our bodies don't remain static throughout our lives. It furthers the trope that women don't tell the truth. And of course this benefits men in patriarchy, because when women are liars, men get away with rape. I mean, it really is that easy. When, as a culture, we make the assumption that women never tell the truth, and when you wear makeup, men have the opportunity to say, this is not who you really are, you're not telling the truth, which is creepy, weird, and kind of besides the point, but it does serve to fuel the idea that women are continually lying about anything, everything, from as little as the fact that you don't really have perfect skin, to the fact that you didn't actually say no that night when you were raped. All of these things feed each other, and I just want you to start making some of these connections, because it's all connected. It's all related. Everything that we do personally has a political impact in the big picture and is informed by the culture around us. None of us move through this world without the taint of the oppressive forces working against us. So that is my video on the malleability or the impermanence of the female body. Hopefully it was effective. I hope you make some noise in the comments, because reading those has been the joy of creating these videos, and it's the reason that I do it. I love to hear from you. I love the ideas that you're all giving me and making me think in other directions that I haven't gone before. That's so fantastic. So beneficial. Please, if you haven't already, I implore you to subscribe. Please like my videos. Just go through all of them and like every single one. That would be really helpful, because I really like doing this and I really want to continue. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thanks for everything. Have a great day.